Yes, indeed. It is Tuesday. We have arrived to the 24th of September, and it's a relaxing day here in St. Louis. Yesterday it was a bit rainy. It's kind of rainy today too, but you need the rain. It's like 69, 70 degrees outside, so it's a nice cool, and we are officially almost in spooky season. I guess it's officially spooky season for those of us who are like major fans of Halloween. But it's almost October, which means it's almost time for the Halloween festivities. We got the anti-corporatist, we got distracted gardener. What's going on? How y'all doing today? Ishanti, what's going on? I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I've been sleeping very well. That day, right? Oh, hell, you're right. The 24th of September. There you go. Singing that Temptations. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Hell of a song, too. Hey, I'm glad you thought of that. Especially the beginning of that song, you know what I'm saying? When it just comes in and oh hell yeah, I'm gonna have to blast that pretty soon. Pinkerbell, what's going on? We got Libby. What's going on? Oh yes, distracted gardener. Any if you need to do that, I would definitely appreciate any support that you can give. I don't know exactly how the methods go down and how that works on here, but thank you so much for everything that you've been doing. You say the anti-corporatist. You say you just driving this semi south from Kansas City. Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'm here in Missouri right now. I'm here in St. Louis, so you say one of my neighbors has a 15-foot ghoul in their yard. Oh, cool. Oh yeah, see, we getting ready for spooky season. We are getting ready. I think I'm gonna dress up this year. I don't know what I'll do yet. I'm not sure exactly what I'll dress up as, but I think that I'm definitely gonna end up doing that this year. And because I'm sure my nieces will be doing stuff for I almost said Thanksgiving. That's after Halloween. I'm sure my nieces will be doing some fun stuff for Halloween, so I'll probably join in on them with that. But yes, it is Tuesday. We have arrived. Oh, Dion, what's going on? Good to have all of y'all here. We got Michael. What's going on? We gonna look at actually I got some stuff pulled up from Marcellus Williams right now. Um I know today is the day he's set to be executed, and Governor Mike Parson, from what I've seen, seems to be pretty adamant on having that go forward, unfortunately. So we're gonna look at a little bit of information on that I do have pulled up. But Mike Parson is setting an example. Setting an example. This goes into the crime narrative about how dangerous the cities are and how law enforcement has to put its foot down and make sure that people don't get away with anything, because in his mind and people like him in their minds, admitting fault is first and foremost political malpractice, even though it isn't, but in their minds it is. And also they view minorities as the enemy and people who need to be kept in check and kept on a leash. So he has said, and I think his lieutenant governor has said that yeah, unfortunately, it's not looking good. But we'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, this is a very red state, Missouri. Here, there's no doubt about that at all. All right, we're gonna start with a little bit of this, some Mark Robinson stuff. The Republican Party, the National Party, they have finished buying ads uh, for Mark Robinson. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, whose campaign has bled support since the revelation that he posted racist comment. Oh, he posted all types of ridiculous nonsense. We already went over that. And he was already set to lose anyway. It wasn't looking good for him in the first place. But now, his whole staff didn't quit. And you got to keep in mind as well, North Carolina was in play for Kamala before this. Now it's even more in play, not just in terms of how these things ricochet, but also Mark Robinson, as he was running for governor, a lot of what he does is campaign for Donald Trump. Now with less staff, he doesn't have as many events. He doesn't have people campaigning with him or for him. So this really is a blow for Republicans, both down and up the ballot. Um, oh, Annie Corporatus, thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you everybody for joining me here and just for supporting in any way that you can. It is greatly appreciated. It's greatly needed, and we are growing. So thank you very much. I'm getting ready to look into joining advocacy groups for different things. So that's what I'm working on now. So I'll keep y'all posted on that and how we can be of assistance to different advocacy groups. All right. Audrey Fallberg at National Review wrote about the fallout from the K Files story that broke on CNN last week. Quote, we don't comment on internal strategy or investment decisions, but we can confirm what's public. Our current media buy in North Carolina expires tomorrow, and no further placements have been made. A fundraising event for Robinson that was scheduled for Friday and was going to be to feature Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, who is the chairman of the RGA, was canceled. Many of Robinson's campaign staffers have also quit, and he said that he's going to go after CNN, but I mean, I don't really see how he could effectively go after CNN at all, given the fact that I mean, it's true. The story that came out about him is true. It's not like he had a clean image before that, and all of a sudden we're presented with this information that might be questionable. No, I mean, it's just more of the same. More of the same BS that he's always said, the stupid nonsense that he's always talking about. And so even if he does sue CNN, he's not going to win. And CNN, you got to keep in mind, CNN ain't gonna put nothing like this out unless they have undeniable proof and pretty much unquestionable evidence. I mean, well, CNN's too big, and they got way too much to lose to just lie about some shit like this. So, yeah, he's not gonna do anything but fade, and he just gonna fade into the black. He said, "I've been trying to tell people here that Robinson is a psycho." Well, hopefully more and more people can definitely see that. Yeah, I heard H Dennis, what's going on? Yeah, I heard what Janet Jackson said. I was on Indisputable yesterday actually with Sharon Reed, and we talked a little bit about that. Yeah, I think that was just silly, and I don't really, she could have just not made that statement publicly. I mean, Janet Jackson, in addition to that comment just being ridiculous, Janet Jackson has been famous her whole life. So it's not as if she didn't know that her comments would be blasted all over the place. It's not as if she didn't know that. So I think that was just kind of silly for her to come out and say that, as if she didn't know that everybody would be talking about it. And as I was talking about on Indisputable yesterday, like it's just a stupid conversation overall. It really is. Like, I can, one, it doesn't matter, but like I'll use myself as an example. Like, and I said this on Indisputable yesterday too. Like, I could see if somebody like question my blackness because of how light skinned I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm half white, I'm half black, but I'm very, very light skinned. So at least there's like plausible deniability to be like, is that a white boy? But Kamala Harris is several shades darker than me. So for people to still be talking about that at this point, it just like, who cares, man? Like, and not only that, but how is, out of all the things, how is questioning Kamala Harris's ethnicity going to change people's minds? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a waste of time conversation. And again, the Republican. Oh, we got Mike Boy in the building. Yeah, man. Shit, them freak offs, them freak offs will do it, man. Them shits will do it. I already know all about that. My man's shit a thousand bottles of baby oil. When you leave, that could be your souvenir when you leave a Diddy party. You just leave with a lifetime supply of baby oil. Where 1,000 bottles would fill up this room that I'm in right now. Like, if seriously, 1,000 bottles of baby oil, like there would be no floor space in the room that I'm in right now. Absolutely none. But yeah, we talked about Janet Jackson saying that yesterday and again. It was just kind of like it's just especially at this point, like just give it a rest. Like who cares, man? Shit doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Kamala, when she becomes president, she's gonna have all types of issues to face that are gonna be along policy lines. What she does in terms of foreign policy, because she's inheriting. I mean, it's not even just that she's inheriting Biden's foreign policy. She's inheriting decades of American foreign policy, so she's gonna have to navigate that. She's gonna have to navigate economic issues, all types of stuff. Like what her ethnicity is has nothing to do with any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. All right, now let's get to this. A Missouri inmate is set to die today, even after a prosecutor fought to have his conviction released based on new evidence. And again, this isn't the prosecutor's office is fighting for this, not the defense office, the prosecutor's office. But here in Missouri, this is a very, outside of St. Louis and Kansas City, everything is very small and rural, which I guess is pretty much like most of the states, realistically, other than, well, no, that's how most of the states are. California has like the most big cities. California got Los Angeles, San Diego, Oakland, San Francisco, Sacramento. I don't know if that's a big city, but like it's, you know, most states are have one or two metropolitan areas, but here in Missouri, again, this is about precedent. Mike Parson doesn't give a damn if this man is innocent or not. That doesn't matter to him. To him, it's just another nigga in prison. The way he sees it, and the way that the justice system here sees it. The office that prosecuted him wants his murder conviction overturned. The family of the woman he's accused of killing has agreed to a life sentence for the inmate instead of the death penalty. Breaking news. Justice Department sues Visa saying it monopolized the debit card market and impacted price of nearly everything. Oh, we're gonna check that out. Hold on, let me get this up here. Let me send this. Hold on. My bad, y'all. All right, here we go. But Marcellus Williams is scheduled to die tonight after Missouri Supreme Court and governor refused to grant a stay of execution following a flurry of appeals efforts based on new evidence. Williams was convicted in 2001 of killing Felicia Gale, a former newspaper reporter found stabbed to death in her home in 1998. The 55-year-old is set to be executed by lethal injection at 6 o'clock today. So in less than 4 hours, even though the prosecutor's office doesn't want this to happen. And look, like the death penalty just it's in addition to what is it, like 4% of people who get put to death are found innocent or something like that. Maybe it's more, but that's the number that's in my head. But like there's it's not necessary to put people to death anymore. It just really isn't. Like this country has more than enough resources to not need to do that. This isn't a third world country. This isn't a nation that really is threatened by gang activity. Like you go to Mexico, you go to Latin American countries where the government barely has or doesn't have as much resources as the cartels. Like this country basically has defeated organized crime within the country. Yeah, you still got organized crime here, but not like you used to. You just don't. When governments put people to death, it's making a statement. It's saying you better follow our rules, you better stay in line, or else this could happen. But again, there's just this government is too big, it's too powerful, it's too wealthy to need to do that. We just don't need to do that. Like now, if you're dealing with a country that again barely has any money in its federal government, it becomes more necessary to uphold the image of power. But we don't have that problem here. So this shit just I mean, even if the prosecutor's office didn't come out with new evidence, we don't need to do this to people. We just don't. If it's really that serious, let them be in prison for life. And that's including what the family of this slain woman wanted was for him to just be in prison. But The need to we are long beyond the need to execute people. We just don't need to do that shit anymore. All right, hold on, let me get back. Where, but recently, the top prosecutor in St. Louis County joined Williams' attorney in asking for Williams' conviction to be overturned after new testimony from the 2001 trial prosecutor and recent DNA testing showing evidence contamination. The case praises the specter of potentially putting an innocent, raises rather, the specter of potentially putting an innocent person to death. An inherent risk of capital punishment. At least 200 people sentenced to death since 1973 were later exonerated, including four in Missouri. Yeah, see, I mean, again, and more importantly than it not being necessary, 200 people since 1973 were later found to be exonerated. I mean, what do you say to that? Like, whoops, my bad. Like, you know, but this is why so many people have long fought for the death penalty to just be overturned and outlawed because of this. And now, Mike Parson, the governor of this state here in Missouri, where I'm at, he don't care, man. He's upholding precedent. That's all this is upholding the status quo. And Marcellus Williams, is going to lose his life just so that the status quo can be upheld. Williams's lawyers and St. Louis County prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell filed a joint brief Saturday asking the Missouri Supreme Court to send the case back to a lower court for a more comprehensive hearing on Bell's January motion to vacate Williams's 2001 conviction and sentence. The St. Louis prosecuting attorney's office, which handled the 2001 trial against Williams, argued in the January motion that DNA testing of the murder weapon might show Williams was not Gale's killer. But the effort unraveled at a circuit court hearing last month after new DNA testing revealed the murder weapon had been mishandled prior to the trial in 2001, contaminating the evidence meant to exonerate Williams and complicating his quest to prove his innocence. Attorneys received a report indicating the DNA on the murder weapon belonged to an assistant prosecuting attorney and an investigator who had handled the murder weapon without gloves prior to the trial. Yeah, stuff like this will just get cases completely overturned a lot of the times. Williams's attorneys have also asked the U.S. Supreme Court to stay the execution. During a motion to vacate hearing August 28th, a prosecutor from Williams's 2001 trial admitted that he had struck a potential juror from the jury pool because, like Mr. Williams, the potential juror was black. Williams' attorneys wrote an emergency request. Quote, there was a racial component to this, but the Missouri Attorney General's office disputed the interpretation of the trial prosecutor's testimony. He said they looked like brothers. In the end, the Missouri Supreme Court unanimously decided not to halt Williams's execution because his team failed to demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence Williams's actual innocence or constitutional error at the original crime trial that undermines the confidence in the judgment. See, again, this is just, oh well, we already made the decision, so we don't want to reverse it because that will make us look like our judgment isn't pure. It'll make us seem like the decisions we make shouldn't be trusted. When it's really just the opposite. I mean, when you're in a position of not just leadership, but in a position to make decisions over whether people live or die, showing that you have the capacity to admit mistakes makes you more trustworthy. It makes you more trustworthy. Um, if you're able to be like, I got this wrong, than to just not be able to do that ever. And again, this man's life is going to be forfeited over something. Over what? I mean, yeah, someone ended up dead, but even their family said just give him life in prison. But this again is another example of why the death penalty just shouldn't be a thing. Not in America. We just don't need this shit here. The victim's family supports life in prison. The St. Louis prosecuting attorney's office said it reached an agreement with Williams last month under the consent under the consent judgment approved by the court and Gale's family. Williams would enter an Alford plea of guilty to first degree murder and be sentenced to life in prison. But the state attorney's general office opposed the deal and appealed to the state Supreme Court, which blocked the agreement. The Williams case has pitted Bell, who became St. Louis County's top prosecutor in 2018 and is now a Democratic candidate for Congress, against Republican State Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who was seeking reelection. Bailey fought Bell's efforts to get Williams' conviction vacated, saying new DNA test results would not exonerate Williams. Well, what else? What else could? If DNA test results can't exonerate him, then what else can? I don't know. Like I'm asking. I don't. I mean, this shit really is heartbreaking. Um, and people are making efforts around the country. People are making efforts to change to change the Supreme Court's mind, to change Mike Parsons' mind. But he's set on this. He's not going to change his mind. The U.S. Supreme Court is Williams' last hope, and we know what's up with the U.S. Supreme Court. So, former Missouri GOP Governor Eric Greitens previously halted Williams' execution and formed a board to investigate his case. See, look, I mean, and then after that, Mike Parson was like, skirt, nope. After Mike Parson took office, he dissolved the board and revoked Williams' stay of execution, the inmate's attorney general. You know what? Like, this this just goes to show not just the power of racism, but how deep it runs, how deep racism really runs. Because, like, this is not, if Mike Parson was to commute Marcellus Williams' sentence, right, and just let him get life in prison, this wouldn't even really be a story. Like, people wouldn't. I mean, maybe here and there, people will be talking about it. People who, follow, criminal justice reform. People who are advocates for criminal justice reform. Yeah, in those circles, it will be a victory. But other than that, it's just. I mean, like, Mike Parson acts as if he pardons Marcellus Williams, or if he commutes his sentence, it'll just be political hell for him. Like, everyone will be outraged because he's a fucking racist. Like, that's why he thinks that. Even though if he commuted Marcellus Williams' sentence again, it will be a victory for people who want criminal justice reform, but it wouldn't be massive news the way this is now. The way we're all talking about it because a man is going to be put to death even though he shouldn't be. It's the power of racism and how deep that shit really runs. Booker T, you said, do I think Janet Jackson claim that Kamala Harris is not black will hurt Kamala in the polls? Hell no. hell no, that ain't gonna hurt Kamala. No, definitely not. No. But yeah, no, this is just I agree. It's a lot like this. And that's why I said, like, that, how the power and how deep his racism runs, because this is so important to him that he's like, no, you have to die. When in reality, again, like, if you commuted his sentence, people wouldn't even be talking about it that much compared to the way they are now. But no, this shit is fucked up, man. This right here is one of the biggest reasons why being involved in local politics is so important. Um, and also, as I've been thinking about, like, things that are not related to this, like, when it comes to, like, for instance, like, things like Medicare for all, like, I don't see that ever happening federally, but it can happen at the state level. You know what I'm saying? It can happen at the state level. Things like universal basic income can happen at the state level. Um, things like expanding Medicaid, expanding Medicare can happen at the state level. So, better criminal justice reform, that also starts at the state level. So yeah, this shit is just incredibly unfortunate, and I mean, what are you going to do again other than get involved? That's all we can do. That's really all we can do, is get more involved at the state level. there's only so much we're going to get in terms of sweeping policy change federally because it's just so much going on in this massive, gigantic country. Um, but if we want real, true reform, we got to do it locally and we got to do it at the state level. But yeah, Mike Parson is just a racist, and he wants Marcellus Williams to die because he thinks that it's going to be good for him politically, and he thinks that he's upholding the status quo because black people are dangerous. You know, that's really it. Oh, and speaking of expanding Medicaid, Missouri, we expanded Medicaid here. So again, that's why I say like, and deep red Missouri. Speaking of Missouri, we talking about Missouri here with Marcellus Williams. Medicaid was expanded here when it was on the ballot measure. It was on the ballot initiative, and Medicaid was expanded. So again, at the state level, um, big things absolutely can go down. All right, now Nebraska governor ends push to change the way state awards electoral votes and blow to Trump. So well, Lindsey Graham was really pushing for this. Republicans are panicking. I know y'all already seen in Georgia. They're gonna. We covered it last time. It's being challenged in court. They may not actually go through with it. It might get struck down. But in Georgia, they want to do uh, hand count the ballots. There's a legal challenge for it because of how things are written in the laws to where things have to be counted through the machines first, so that may get turned down. But this got batted. This right here, Lindsey Graham, he won in Nebraska because most states have a winner take all. I think Nebraska and Maine are the only two states, or one of the only two states that don't. They do like a percentage. So like there's 5 electoral votes in Nebraska, and normally Democrats will get one because Democrats will perform better in Democratic cities. And so they were trying to give Trump that one extra electoral college vote. But I think the senator, he was like, "No, nah, I'm not going to do that." So they're not going to get that, but they may get the hand counted ballots in Georgia. But we'll see what's up. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen said Tuesday that he has, quote, no plans to call a special session to change the way the state allocates electoral votes to a winner take all system, ending an effort led by Donald Trump. Well, Lindsey Graham. He was at the forefront of it. The announcement comes after Republican State Senator Mike McDowell said he would not support a last ditch effort to overturn the law that awards electoral votes based by congressional district. Quote, given everything at stake for Nebraska and our country, we have left every inch on the field to get this done. Unfortunately, we could not persuade 33 state senators. Senator Mike McDonnell of Omaha has confirmed he is unwilling to vote for winner take all before the 2024 election. That is profoundly disappointing to me and the many others who have worked so earnestly to ensure all Nebraskans' votes are sought after equally this election. Oh, no. Well, no, because if you were concerned about people's votes being sought after equally, then you would want to keep it the way that it is because Omaha will go Democrat, usually does, and then the Democrat gets that electoral college vote. I mean, this just shows how desperate Republicans are. One, I mean, Republicans have been losing the future for a very long time. Republicans haven't won a popular vote for president since Ronald Reagan, before I was born. I'm 32 years old. Not one time in my whole life have Republicans won the popular vote. And that is becoming an increasingly big problem for them because instead of adjusting to the times, Republicans are becoming more racist, more sexist, more homophobic, more transphobic, more all the isms. You feel me? They're just tripling down on all of that, despite the fact that this country is becoming more diverse, more feminist, more gay, more everything. The toothpaste is out of the bottle. It can't really be squeezed back in. They're trying their hardest. Roe was reversed. All these red states are doing these 6-week bans, but there's nothing they really can do about the direction that things are going. So they do stuff like this because they can't win elections fairly. Um, but yeah, I mean, Think about how bad everyone knows Donald Trump is doing, such that they're like, "Oh, give him this one more electoral vote because maybe that'll do it. One more vote." But clearly you don't care about the voters. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trying to change this. But good on the senator for not doing it. Based on the lack of 33 votes, I have no plans to call a special session on this issue prior to the 2024 election. I am grateful to the many Nebraskans who made their voices heard during this process. The statement puts an end to a saga that saw Trump attempt to pressure state lawmakers to change the Nebraska's law in time for the vote in November. The Cornhusker state allocates 2 electoral votes for the statewide popular vote winner and one to the popular vote winner in each of the state's 3 congressional districts. Trump won all 5 of Nebraska's electoral votes in 2016, but won only 4 in 2020, with Joe Biden carrying the Omaha area seat. The fight over a single electoral vote for Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, which has become known as Omaha's Blue Dot, has emerged as a symbol of just how close the race between Trump and Kamala Harris has become. Well, yeah, there we go. So that was shot down. That is not happening. So it'll still be the proportion system that they've been using. All right, let me catch up with y'all. Let me catch up with y'all because I got the one screen going on, so I can't see all the comments as they come in. Let's see. Nope. Oh yeah, we just went over there. Yeah, Nebraska. I thought there was okay. So there's 3. My bad. I thought there was 5. Thank you for correcting me. Yes. Oh, 5. I was right. I was correct. There we go. We were both wrong. There. Yeah, so that cancels it out, Pinkerbell. That cancels it out right there. Um. But yeah, so that was shot down. So Georgia, the hand count thing might get turned down by higher courts. We got to keep our eyes out for that. We don't know yet. So we will keep our eyes peeled. Paula, you said W won the popular vote in his second election, but they technically stole it from Gore, so it's all kind of moot. Well, okay. Well, if they have done a popular vote, then it's just that. Other than that, they haven't been able to. Um, and it's mainly because the more I think about it, and it's not like it's something I discovered or like it's brand new. But if it wasn't for Republicans' racism, they never would win anything. Like they really wouldn't because their policies are so pro corporation. That's pretty much all their policies are for, and hampering the middle class in any way, whether it be gutting unions, cutting social benefit programs, like being totally against raising wages in any meaningful way. If it wasn't for, oh my God, the immigrants are coming and all the scary black people are big criminals and we got to throw them in prison. If it wasn't for all of that shit, man, they would never win anything. But unfortunately for them, the like they're just kind of they've hit a wall with that shit, man. Like, yeah, there's always going to be racist elements everywhere because it's unfortunately part of the human condition to be that way. um, but they've really hit a massive wall and they have to change. They got to switch up or else they're going to have to continue to become more authoritarian. Like we're going to make it illegal so that people can't drink. You can't pass out water in voting lines. Like, well, I mean, come on, man. Come on. All right. Let's check that. Let's see. Hold on. Let's pull this up. Let's check out a video real quick because I got to respond to this text message. We got Queen Fritz in the building. What's going on? Okay, so yeah, in 2004, there we go. So he won. So the only time, yep, well, there we go. One time in 35 years, and that's why, like that's why, because they don't appeal to people, and they become so extreme that their base is just shrunk that much more. Like there are a lot of Republicans who no longer consider themselves to be a part of the party because of MAGA. And they've allowed their craziest people to take over the party. JD Vance lays into the media for debunking Springfield migrant claims. Think about this, man. Think about this. Think about the fact that JD Vance is one of the senators of Ohio, and he's putting his own constituents in this type of danger for a losing argument, for failing rhetoric.
JD Vance today, again, though, refusing to admit the story is not true.
I wish the American media was half as interested in the stress on the local schools, the stress on the hospitals, and unaffordable housing as they are in debunking a story that comes from the residents of Springfield. Did you ever think about listening to people speak their truth instead of listening to some bureaucrat and assuming that everything that they tell you is true?
The city is under a state of emergency. The situation there is tense tonight. The mayor of Springfield, Rob Rue, joins me now. So, Mayor, you just heard JD Vance, basically saying why should we listen to, elected officials and government officials and just.
I mean, this is just like that Andrew Tate shit. Like, I don't look at the facts or the data. Who needs that? I mean, like that's literally what this is. And again, JD Vance is the senator, one of the senators of this state, and he's like, who cares? Whatever.
Listen to the people of Springfield. Obviously he knows the facts. He knows that the story is not true. But how does hearing him say that make you feel?
Well, I think it's important to know just our governor has trusted the local government here because we are here and we do know what's going on. And we hear concerns about the community, but, we have told the America that this story isn't true. And there's no reason for us to other than to tell you the truth. We care about our community and we don't want lies spread around like that has happened for the last 12 to 13 days.
So in that time, Governor DeWine, your governor, who's also said the story is not true, has said that foreign actors, though, are the ones behind the bomb threats that have so disrupted your community, schools, government offices, grocery stores. What do you know about where the threats are coming from, Mayor?
Yeah, I think that's been answered. That's something that I believe the FBI is looking into, and we'll just let them continue to investigate where they're originating from.
Just to be clear, though, you're not hearing that it's some sort of right-wing Trump supporters who are doing this. I mean, right? That's not what you're hearing.
We're hearing threats from in all kinds of ways. So, like I said, it's being looked into. I'm confident with those that are looking into it are telling us what we need to know right now.
So Senator Vance had something to say about the legal status of the majority of the Haitian immigrants in the country. Here's what he said, Mayor.
I'm thrilled to have Governor DeWine's support, but there is one thing that he is just wrong about. When the media says that people are here legally, here's what they mean. That Kamala Harris has granted mass amnesty to millions of illegal aliens. Now, I happen to think that what Kamala Harris has done is not just wrong, it is illegal.
So, Mary, he's referring to the policies of the Biden administration, which, of course, the immigrants in your community, I understand almost all of whom are legal, increase the population of your city by a third. Do you think that the Biden administration made a mistake by granting legal status to some of the immigrants who ended up in your community?
I think it's just important to note that those that are here are human beings, and we want to make sure that they are not anything other than cared for. And they are here under a legal status based on this administration. And that's what, as a local leader, as one of 5 commissioners and a mayor, is dealing with. People are here. We don't want people to be harmed. We want a secure community. That's our focus in Springfield, Ohio.
So I know you've personally received threats. How is your family doing and managing that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. My family's doing well, and we are staying strong, just like the rest.
And again, it's all so dumb. Like the cartoonish level of racism that the Republican Party has fully allowed into its midst. Like, they've gone from, hey, when you have an influx of people in a community, like it can kind of mess up the job market. It can kind of, jimmy up the property values here and there. No, they went from that to these people are eating our pets, and they won't let it go. Like they won't let it go. It's God, it's just it's unfortunate, man. Like it really is unfortunate because this this isn't going to just disappear. Like we're going to be dealing with these people for a long time. Republicans are very, very mistaken if they think that all we have to do to turn our party around is get rid of Trump. No, that's not all you need to do. It's going to take y'all a long time to turn your party around. All right, let's get into this, man. Well, I might as well just read this while my voice is still all right. While my voice is still doing pretty good right now. I'm gonna go ahead and read this. All right, here we go. And I'm sorry if I'm missing y'all comments. I'm just I got the one screen right now. All right, do I have this up? Trump brutally roasted over rambling answer on how he would lower prices if elected. All right. Okay. What did he say? Um, okay, he sat down with Cheryl Atkinson on her Senate. And I will say too, as Kamala is doing more interviews, one thing that she really could stand to get better at, um, she doesn't do it all the time anymore, but she'll still do it, is to just get to the point. Like when people ask you what you're going to do about something, don't tell a story first, then the answer. And again, she doesn't always do that, but she still does that. And she might mean well with it, but it's just not that good of communication. So she would, and I'm sure that she'll her, if I'm saying this, if y'all know this, then her team is saying it too. But that is definitely something that she could improve on, just in terms of like interviews and stuff, is just get to the point and then tell a story. Don't tell a story, then get to the point. That'll just it'll help out with optics, and also for people who don't like religiously follow politics. It'll just be better, not just in the campaign, but afterwards as well. So she can definitely improve on that. But that's an easy fix for her to make, honestly. Okay, so this is Trump's answer, but first they ask, Kamala Harris has been very short on specifics when it comes to economy, other than saying she wants an opportunity economy. What are the specific mechanisms of how prices come down? The steps that will be taken in a second term for you. Trump replied, first of all, she can't do an interview. She could never do this interview because you ask questions like, give me a specific answer. She talks about her lawn when she was growing up. This woman is not equipped to be president. She can't. She's not capable of doing it. She's so stupid. But when you're on a stage with her, she makes you look like the fool that you are. It's just hilarious, the amount of projection that Donald Trump gives off. She's not equipped to deal with President Xi. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars with him, and Putin. We had no war with Putin, remember? And I'm just going to go off for this. What? I'm just going to go off just for this. With Bush, they took a lot. Russia with Biden, they're trying to take everything. With Obama, they took a lot. With Trump, Russia took nothing. What does that mean? What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Okay, let's continue. Just remember that it's a little chart, but what happened? And when you look at what took place was so sad. When they took over, they cut the oil way down. And oil started going through the roof. It was going to go to $10 a gallon. $10 a gallon. He's so hyperbolic. $10 a gallon. And one of the only reasons gas was cheaper in 2020 is because people weren't driving. People were at home. It was going to go to numbers that nobody's ever seen. And so they went back to the Trump drilling. Okay, so they went back. Because we didn't drill for oil until Donald Trump was in office, and of course we're drilling more oil now than when he was in office. So they said let it go back. That was the only good thing, but they stopped because I would be there. It's so hard to follow along with this, but 4 years later, I would be triple what the number was. Right now, they're just about even where I was. No, they're more than where you were. But they only did that because of the fact that they eventually have an election coming up. And you remember at the beginning what happened? That's one of the reasons that Putin went in, because it went to $100 a barrel instead of $40 a barrel. And he could fight all the wars he wants with those kinds of numbers because he's a big seller of oil and gas. He's so dumb. So what happens if they went back to what I was doing? Just to reopen. Just reopen. It wasn't hard. It's so crazy what they want to do. They're going to destroy lives. They're going to destroy lives. They're going to destroy what they have done to this country, and especially in the sense of allowing millions and millions of people to come in, because that's something, we can fix the gasoline situation and we can fix anything. Atkinson followed up. Do prices come down magically because it's not them? They come down with energy and they come down with interest rates. We're going to get, as I told you, we're going to get energy down by 50% in 12 months. 50% in 12 months. Do you know, he is just a used car salesman. He is just a used car salesman. Oh, and look, I'll bring the chat back up, and Fritz are talking about lobster mac and cheese. See, now I'm all distracted. Oh my God. Hold on, I'm catching up with y'all. Yeah, see, yeah, now Fritz done got me hungry. Okay. Lobster mac and cheese. Christina, what you out there eating? What you out there eating? All right, it's so hard to follow along with what he says. We're going to have it. It's going to be a major smash on energy. If you look at the energy and I'm not just talking about cars, I'm talking about air conditioning, heating, your basic energy operating a bakery, operating any kind of business. It's all having to do with energy. Yeah, the Donald Trump, he be saying shit like, I understand nuclear because 50 years ago, my uncle taught at MIT. My dad can beat up your dad. Oh God. Trump, and then he says, oh, that was where they started wrong. That was where they started wrong, when they cut way back on what I did. And again, just so you understand, they then let it go back to where it was, which he was a very smart thing. Otherwise, you would have had, I think you would have had a depression, if you want to know the truth. But energy was rising at a level that nobody had ever seen. And then they said, go back. God, he's so dumb. They would tell people, go back to your wells, go back to drilling, go back to fracking, do whatever you have to do. But if they win the day after, they're going all the way. They were only doing that because of an election coming up. They're going all the way. It's madness. And what they've done to our country is mad. I mean, I don't even know why the hell I just read all of that, to tell you the truth. What is he talking about? Oh God, this dude, man. All right, let's get into, well, we already know that Donald Trump has barely been campaigning, especially in the swing states where the whole election is going to be decided. So let's check some of this out by the numbers, because I got a couple of things pulled up for this. Trump holding far fewer rallies than in past runs. And again, it's not just rallies, it's the door knocking and all that stuff. So we're going to get into that too in a sec. All right. So the orange are the rallies in 2016, and 2024 is like the maroon. So this is June. And it's just way more. Obviously, we are not yet in October, so those numbers aren't there. but this is significantly less. And again, it makes sense why he's doing. He's 78 years old, among other things. He's 78. This is his third presidential run in the last 9, 10 years. He's tired of it. The only reason he's really running for president is so that he can pardon himself. There's no real motivation there. He doesn't really have any fight left in him. But this is, I mean, this is stark, man. This is a massive drop. Former President Trump first defined his political brand and paved his path to the White House with big, raucous rallies, but he's hitting the trail much less frequently this time around. Trump held 72 rallies between June and September of 2016. He's held 24 in that period this year, with another on the calendar for Monday. That's a significant drop. That is a significant drop. And again, this is one of the issues that this was one of Hillary's two biggest issues. Hillary's biggest issue in 2016 is she just really is unpopular and unliked, and people have been seeing her for decades. And so she kind of brought that old stench with her, like, oh, we've been seeing her and the Clintons, and she's been attached to all the bad things that have happened. Now Trump is wearing that belt. Now Donald Trump has been in public life. Well, he's been in public life for decades, but as a politician for the last 10 years, people have seen it. We've been there, done that. And Hillary's second biggest flaw was she barely campaigned. She was acted like she had it in the bag. She didn't do a lot of rallies. She didn't have as many door knocking operations going on. Now Trump is doing the same shit. Trump's campaign tells Axios he'll soon ramp up his schedule with multiple rallies per week. Well, there's only a few weeks left of the election, so better get to it. In the final stretch of the campaign, load him up with all of the cocaine you can find, injected into his veins. Trump held 69 rallies in October and early November of 2016, taking the stage as many as 5 times per day in the stretch run. That's a lot. 5 times a day. I would need lots of drugs to do that, even though I'm in my 30s. That's a lot. But again, he loves it. That's what he lives for. He lives for the crowds, and he was having fun. He's not having fun anymore. Even with the pandemic raging in 2020, Trump controversially hit the road with 15 rallies in September and 43 over the 5 weeks leading up to Election Day. Trump stopped holding outdoor rallies for a few weeks after surviving a July assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. Makes sense. Can't blame him for that. But resumed in late August. He held a rally on Saturday in North Carolina and has another scheduled for Monday in Pennsylvania. People in Trump's camp give 3 primary reasons he's hitting the road less. He's a known quantity. The campaign feels less need to define him or their candidacy to voters this time around. No, that's bullshit. That is a complete bullshit answer right there. They're lying. No, and what difference does that make? Oh, he's a known quality. Hillary Clinton was an even more known quality, and look what happened to her. So terrible. And not only look what happened to her, but Donald Trump lost in 2020. So it's not like, oh, well, Trump was always winning and he's got this one in the bag too. No. Donald Trump's always losing. So terrible reason here. Rallies are expensive. Trump's campaign manager, so y'all broke. You ain't got no money. Look at that. Well, that's another thing that Kamala is absolutely destroying Trump in this election cycle. She got so much money, she giving the money away. Donald Trump he has literally just stolen so much donation money, like hundreds of millions of dollars that were sent to him, especially when he was getting impeached. He just didn't spend it on many of the campaigns for the people that he endorsed. Like he's just a con artist. That's all he is. And also keep in mind that Donald Trump doesn't pay people. So a lot of places that are rejecting him, like, no, you can't come here unless you pay us, because he'll just do rallies and then not pay the city. Like he'll owe this. Oh, I owe $50,000 to this municipality. I owe $90,000 to that municipality, and he just doesn't pay people. And here he's older and more inclined to spend his time at Mar-a-Lago. This is kind of the only. Well, these two are the legitimate reasons. Rallies are expensive, aka y'all broken, ain't got no money. He's older. Well, yeah, that's a clear and obvious answer as to why he's not doing so many rallies now. Because like when you're younger, like if you're like I'm 32 years old, you feel me? So like another 10 years, like I'll be older, but I won't have significantly aged. But once you get past like 50, like another 10 years can be significant. Another 10 years, like you go from 68 to 78, it, that time is a lot more significant um, than when you're younger. And that's one of the biggest issues, among other things, that Biden had with his campaign. Is his old age and the perception of his old age. What they're saying, President Trump's signature rallies remain a staple of his efforts. Okay, whatever. Trump appears frequently on cable TV and podcasts, often from his home in Florida. Yes, he likes to just call in. Um well, yeah, I mean that's but that is significant right there. And then we got this that we'll go over today as well. We will go over this today as well. Let me see. Let me bring this up. Republican activists say little sign of door knocking for Trump in swing states. Massive, massive problem. And also, you know, first and foremost, when it comes to the polls, I mean, Kamala's up in pretty much all of them. Whenever she's down in a poll, it's like an outlier at this point. But more importantly than her being up in the polls is like tens of thousands, well, hundreds of thousands total, 61,000 new voters, women voters have registered in North Carolina. Bad news for Republicans. But again, new registered voters don't get sample. They're not part of the sample when it comes to polls. So um a lot of these people aren't necessarily being counted in the polls. I think the polls are just fine, but I think overall, just because of the time period that we're in, I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on how polls are conducted. Um, but she's winning in them anyway. But I just bring that up to say stuff like this is a massive, massive problem because of all of the new registered voters in these swing states and you not knocking on people's doors. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, see, there you go. You know what I'm saying? But also, one of the biggest issues that Trump had, and I was thinking about this, I was like, it's going to be hard for Donald Trump to hire a competent campaign staff, and he hasn't been able to do it for real. But yeah, no, this is how Hillary lost in 2016, right here. But yeah, no, I mean, we got, you look at these swing states and all these tens of thousands of new registered voters in all of these swing states. And you look at the demographics and it's like, yeah, most of these people are going to vote for Kamala. Yeah, man, Trump is the worst campaign ever. Like no campaign even to speak of. Republican activists say little sign of door knocking for Trump in swing states. Republican activists in swing states say they have seen little sign of the teams tasked with knocking on doors and turning out infrequent voters on behalf of Donald Trump, raising concerns about the party's presidential nominee relying on outside groups for an important part of his campaign operations. Trump and the Republican National Committee he controls opted to share get out the vote duties in key parts of the most competitive states this year with groups such as America PAC, the organization supported by billionaire Elon Musk. This also is a clear sign of what Donald Trump is actually thinking about. What he's actually thinking about is not going to prison. That's all. That's really what's on his mind. He wants to pardon himself. His head is not in the game. It's difficult to demonstrate that something is not happening, but with fewer than 50 days until the November 5th election, dozens of Republican officials, activists, and operatives in Michigan, North Carolina, and other battleground states say they have rarely or never witnessed the group's canvassers. I mean, what? This is a disaster for Donald Trump. In Arizona and Nevada, the Must-Back Political Action Committee replaced its door-knocking company just this past week. Quote, I haven't seen anybody, said Nate Wilkowski, field director for the Republican Party in vote-rich Oakland County, Michigan, which includes crucial Detroit suburbs. He was speaking specifically of America PAC. Nobody's given me a heads up that they're around in Oakland County areas. And this, I mean, Michigan is definitely a state that I mean, among other things, Trump really should have a lot of door knocking operations in Michigan because Kamala has issues with the Muslim vote because there's a larger Muslim population in Michigan. So this should be a state that he's all over. Just for that, I mean, he should be all over it because he's trying to become president. But Michigan is a state that Kamala has legitimate struggles in because of Joe Biden's foreign policy. But North Carolina, I mean, if Kamala wins that, it's over. It's done. And she's looking good in most of the swing states. But especially with what just happened with Mark Robinson and the fact that he's not in a position to canvass or campaign for Donald Trump either. This is a massive, massive problem for Donald Trump. Trump has relied on the loyalty of his fervent base in an election expected to pivot on turnout. The spotty evidence, however, of what was portrayed as a sophisticated operation has some party activists questioning the operation's value. Trump's campaign views the race with Vice President Kamala Harris as a toss up among likely voters, but believes it has an edge among people who stayed away in 2016 and 2020, making it even more essential to reach them. No, I don't know why. I don't know why they think that. No, it's Kamala who has an edge on people who didn't vote in 2016 and 2020, not Donald Trump. This is just wrong. This is just flat out incorrect. Donald Trump has made no effort whatsoever to expand his base. All he's done is shrunk his base. That's all he's done. Yeah, he still has it, but no, this is just flat out incorrect right here. The work is particularly important in Michigan, where Trump lost by fewer than 160,000 votes in 2020, and where the GOP began the year mired in debt and fighting an ugly contest over the rightful state party leader. Michigan's Republican chairman, Pete Hoekstra, said he was told that America PAC canvassers had arrived in late August and were at work. A spokesperson for the PAC said canvassers were in Michigan as well as Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, the 7 most competitive states. The spokesperson declined to say how many canvassers were across the states. Megan Reckling, a Republican canvassing firm owner in Michigan, said she spotted 2 America PAC canvassers Tuesday in Oakland County. Again, so America PAC is Elon Musk is funding that. That's not even Trump's operation for his campaign. Identifiable in blue polo shirts, emblazoned with America. They were working an area that Reckling's own data showed to be one with low propensity voters. They had, you could tell, a very pleasant exchange with the lady who answered the door and probably talked to her for 5 minutes. But in interviews with more than 24 activists and party officials across the 7 battleground states, such reports were rare. This is a complete disaster. Complete disaster. Not only is Donald Trump making a fool of himself publicly, but privately, where the campaign really goes down, is barely even happening. I don't know what the PACs are doing, said Mark Fortin, the GOP chair in Macomb County, Michigan, a populous suburban area northeast of Detroit. I don't know if they are going door to door. If you don't know, then they probably ain't doing it. Trump aides say the campaign has an estimated 30,000 volunteer captains who are identifying less likely at the local level, including through neighborhood canvassing. 30,000 volunteer captains where? In the swing states or across the whole country? Okay, so essentially, yeah, I mean, this is just this is a complete disaster for Donald Trump. Well, shit, if they all over Southern Missouri, they gonna win that anyway. They gonna win that anyway. All right, let's see. You said my volume's acting funny. Oh, let me turn it up a little bit. I'm checking to see. I don't know. Yeah, I'll figure out what's going on with the sound. It does that sometimes. I don't know why, but it goes in and out. But yeah, no, I mean, this is just this is Like, how can Trump win like this? I mean, he was already in trouble, but again, when you really look at the real campaign that's going on in the swing states, and people are like, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody. That's not good, man. Y'all remember Kmart? I remember Kmart growing up going to Kmart. The last full-size Kmart store is going to close, marking the end of an era. Yes, indeed, I remember Kmart. The last full-size Kmart store in the continental U.S. is set to close in October, marking the end of the line for the retailer once known for its blue light specials. After the Bridgehampton, New York store closes, there will be a small Kmart in Miami and a handful of stores in Guam in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So it's just going to be that. The former retail giant had more than 2,000 U.S. stores at its peak. The New York location is expected to shutter October 20th. Kmart's parent company, Transformco, didn't immediately respond to Axios' request for comment. The liquidation sale is posted on SB 360. Kmart and Sears were owned by Sears Holdings, which filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2018 with plans to shed debt and continue operating. Well, yeah, the giant superstore really isn't needed anymore. People buy a lot of stuff online. But Kmart, yeah, I remember we had a bunch of Kmarts around here in St. Louis. All right, let's get into some news here. Let's see. I mean, this shit is this shit. I mean, this shit is ridiculous, man. Donald Trump, he's ridiculous, but his campaign is ridiculous. And Kamala has so much voter enthusiasm. Like, I mean, what do you even say to this? Federal assault weapons ban could have stopped 38 mass shootings since 2005. The federal assault weapons ban would have prevented as many as 38 mass shootings that have taken place since the law lapsed in 2005, a new study estimates. Enacted by Congress in 1994, the ban prohibited the sale and manufacture of certain military style semi automatic weapons in the United States, including notoriously deadly weapons like AK 47s, AR 15s, Tech 9s, and street sweeper shotguns with high capacity revolving cylinders. There have been multiple attempts to renew the ban, but none have succeeded. While the ban was in place, would-be mass shooters denied access to an assault weapon did not turn to other types of firearms to carry out a massacre. So, okay, so I guess, hold on. Quote, these results suggest that the federal assault weapons ban discourage potential perpetrators from committing a mass shooting with an assault weapon, and furthermore, that these potential perpetrators did not simply carry out attacks with other types of weapons, because it would have been harder to if you got a handgun or if you got a knife or something or a sword or something that doesn't shoot a whole bunch of rounds per minute or per second, then it's a lot harder to commit these mass atrocities. It's pretty simple science. For the study, researchers looked for events in which at least 4 people were killed by a firearm. A total of 184 such mass shootings have occurred between 1966 and 2022. The researchers then looked at trends before, during, and after the assault weapon ban to estimate the number of mass shootings that relied on such firearms while it was active. The assault weapon ban prevented up to 5 public mass shootings, researchers said. A total of 34 mass shootings occurred while the ban was in place during 95 and 2004. During the federal assault weapons ban, we found a downward trend in mass shootings where a perpetrator did bring an assault weapon, Lundberg said in a university news release. However, we found no difference in trends for mass shootings where the perpetrator did not bring an assault weapon. If it had been renewed by Congress, the ban could have prevented up to 38 out of the 95 mass shootings that took place between 2005 and 2022, results show. In those instances, the shooter would have been denied access to a previously prohibited assault weapons. I mean, think about this. Like, and again, this is an issue that you really can point your finger just at the Republicans for. Like, the gun lobby money is so important to them. And just the power of money in politics is that powerful. I mean, this is such a stupid problem that other countries don't have. Other countries that are, like anywhere remotely similar to America's prosperity just don't have this issue. So there we go. We got some studies that show what pretty much everybody could have guessed. And hold on, let's see. We got a record number of citizen initiated ballot measures. We've gone over these some. Let's go over them a bit more. We got Davina. What's going on? Good to have you here. Good to have you here, Davina. All right. Where are we now? Yeah, let's check out some more of these ballot initiatives. The power of getting involved. Record number of citizen initiated ballot measures set for 2024 election cycle. Of the 26 states that allow citizen initiated ballot measures, 18 will feature citizen initiatives on the ballot this year. 13 of these states had a higher than average number of initiatives certified for their respective statewide ballots this year, compared to even year election cycles between 2010 and 2022. A total of 931 ballot initiatives were filed this election cycle, and 57 were certified for the ballot. 2024 will feature the most initiatives since 2016, when there were 76 on the ballot. Nebraska has the most initiatives above average out of the 13 states. Over the last 7 even year election cycles, the state averaged about 1 initiative per cycle. On November 5th, Nebraskans will decide on 6 citizen initiatives related to abortion, medical marijuana, paid sick leave, and private education scholarships. Arkansas, which still has an initiative pending signature verification as of September 20th, California, Maine, and Oregon ballots will all feature a lower than average number of initiatives this year. California averages about 9 initiatives. 9 initiatives certified per cycle in 2024. 12 of the 13 ballot initiatives filed qualified for the ballot, but in California, initiative sponsors have until 131 days before the election to withdraw their measure after it has qualified. By the June 27th deadline, 6 of the 12 initiatives were withdrawn due to legislative compromises being reached or campaign strategy changes. 1 initiative was removed from the ballot by the California Supreme Court, which ruled that the initiative was unconstitutional because the proposed changes amounted to a revision of the state constitution. Voters will only see 5 initiatives on their ballots in addition to 6 legislatively referred measures this year in California. The average number of initiatives certified between 2010 and 2022 and the number of initiatives on the ballot in 2024 in North Dakota is the same at 3 initiatives. All right. 3 states, Maryland, Michigan, and Oklahoma, did not have any initiatives qualify for the ballot this year. 3 states, Illinois, New Mexico, and Wyoming, also did not have any that qualified. So what was it, 57? Yeah, 57 are certified on the ballot across the United States this year, which is the highest since 2016, which had 76. Lots of ballot initiatives. I'm pretty certain that pretty sure that Missouri is going to vote to uphold abortion rights. Pretty much anywhere that's on the ballot, people come out to protect that. Hold on, where did I miss it? Davina, thank you so much for the $4 super chat. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you like my dreads. I need to get them done. I need to go to the barbershop, you know what I'm saying, get a line up, and then I need to get these braided. But thank you for the super chat and for the compliment. Oh, we got Roxy. What's going on, Roxy? It's been a while. How you doing today? How you doing from across the pond? What's going on with you? All right, let's check this out real quick. Yo, CNN has the worst roundtable discussions ever. CNN's almost as bad as Fox with their roundtable discussions. They're so bad. But this is him making fun of Trump for telling people to vote early and then calling early voting stupid.
Donald Trump is headed to Georgia today after telling Pennsylvanians early voting is stupid as he tried to get them to vote early. CNN's Elena Treen is with us this morning. Sometimes best laid plans, Elena, don't work out quite so well.
Fritza, it is 3:21 where I'm at.
That's right. It was quite a contradictory statement, actually, from Donald Trump on this. He had first told Pennsylvanians to get out and to vote early before calling it stupid. Look, I mean, the contradictory statements really, I think, exemplify how Donald Trump feels on this issue. He often argues that he thinks early voting is vulnerable to potential election fraud. He argues it cost him the 2020 election. But at the same time, Republicans have increasingly embraced early voting. You have the RNC and people like Lara Trump on the RNC pushing for people to vote early, recognizing that it is a necessary tool to help them win in November. But look, I do want to just shift gears a bit, John, about what we're going to see from Donald Trump.
I'm voting absentee because I'm living in Missouri right now, but I'm not a resident of Missouri. I'm technically still a resident of New Jersey. So I am voting absentee. I already got everything ready to go. But yes, of course. Vote early, but voting early is stupid. The more people vote, the less likely it is that I'm going to win. So Republicans, get your votes in, but maybe not. Maybe don't do it. Maybe not. All right, where we at? All right, we got this jackass who Roxy getting ready for bed. Well, I hope you sleep well this evening. I slept very well last night. I had a lot of dreams. I had a lot of dreams last night with good messages. The good message, what I got from my dreams last night was do the right thing. Even when it's difficult, even when people are against you, do the right thing. That's what I got. But yeah, every time I voted in person, but this time I will be voting by mail. Oh, voting and Roxy hitting up New Jersey too. All right, let's see. Okay, I got it pulled up. Sheriff yanked from voting site security after urging residents to write down the address of Harris supporters. Good. The office of an Ohio sheriff who called for residents to write down the home addresses of Vice President Kamala Harris's supporters has been pulled from providing security from absentee voting ahead of the 2024 presidential election. Good call. Portage County Sheriff Bruce D. Zakowski took to his personal Facebook account. We already remember what he said, where he was like, blah, blah, blah. If she wins, everything's going to be terrible. Hey, write down the addresses of people who voted for her, because that's where the illegals will be staying. Who? When people ask me what's going to happen if the flip-flop and the laughing hyena wins, I say, write down all the addresses of the people who had her signs in their yards. I don't think they talk like this in Ohio. I'm giving him a Southern accent, though. So when the illegal human locust, which she supports, need places to live, we'll already have the addresses of the new families who supported their arrival. Within days, the Portage County Board of Elections took action proposing to pull Zakowski and his deputies from providing security. As board members, we are charged with preventing violence and disorder at the polls and to conduct a safe and secure election process. It is clear by public comments in the past week there is perceived intimidation by our sheriff against certain voters. The motion passed 3-1. While it is not my responsibility to weigh in on the sheriff's comments directly, I feel strongly it is my responsibility to make sure I do what is in my authority to make sure every voter in Portage County feels safe casting their ballots for any candidate they choose. I believe walking into a voting location where a sheriff deputy can be seen may discourage voters from entering. What does it say? Kleitz emphasized, I guess that's his name, emphasized that past deputies have provided safety to board members, staff, and voters. In a subsequent post, Kleitz, however you say it, said that the sheriff's office has been added to the county's election administration plan. Well, good. Zukowski's not going to be there. He's not going to be there to intimidate people. He should feel ashamed, but he probably doesn't. He should be ashamed, but probably isn't. All right, now where are we at? Let's get into some rally footage. Let us get into some rally footage. Ooh. All right, let's see. I typically don't remember my dreams either, but I did last night. They were meaningful dreams. They were very meaningful. I took the meaning from them. I could have taken other meaning from it, but that's the meaning that I got from my dreams last night. All right, let's see. Yes, indeed, fascists have no shame. Indeed, they do not. Trump rages at fake news reporters over McDonald's. Hold on, do I have the right one pulled up? Yes. Over McDonald's story and rally rant. Vows next week he'll try a French fry job.
Remember this. For a long time, she's been talking about her experience at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's over the French fries. It was so hot. I think I'm going to go to a McDonald's next week someplace. I'm going to go, might not be in your place. I'm going to go to a McDonald's and I'm going to work the French fry job for about a half an hour.
That might actually, doing stuff like that might have actually helped Donald Trump's overall image and branding campaign. But of course, he's not going to do anything like that. And I really don't. I mean, other than him just talking out of his ass, because that's what he does. I don't know why people are saying that Kamala lied about working at McDonald's. Like, why would she lie about that? She wasn't born rich. She had to have jobs. And they say, oh, well, she didn't put McDonald's down on her resume to be a prosecutor. Like, yeah, why would she put why was working at McDonald's relevant experience on your resume to get a job as a prosecutor? Like, I just, it's very believable that she worked at McDonald's for one of her, early stints in employment. She lied about working at McDonald's. Like, no, she didn't, but okay.
I want to see how it is. But she said she worked and she grew up in terrible conditions. She worked at McDonald's. It was such. She never worked there. And these fake news reporters will never report it. They don't want to report it because they're fake. They're fake.
He's so, again, like it's just like Donald Trump has never worked a job ever, ever. All he did when he was president was golf and tweet. That's all he did. So it's really just kind of ironic for him to be talking about this. Like, dude, you were worth $1 million by the time you were like 3 years old or some shit like that. Like, shut up.
They don't want to report it. She never worked at McDonald's, but it was a big part of her resume. They went to the different places. Did she work here? Did she work here? Did she work here? She said, we don't know who the hell she is. Leave us alone. We're making hamburgers. We will end the invasion of small town Pennsylvania, and we will end the destruction of America. It's destroying our country. This country is going to be better.
She's actually part of the elite. She never worked at McDonald's. Actually, she worked at what, Burger King? She never worked at McDonald's. She worked at Taco Bell. Like, bruh, like she was, what was it? She was almost out of high school or some shit when her mom bought her first home or something like that. Like, what are you talking about? It's just projection. It's just never ending projection. She didn't work at McDonald's. All right, leave me alone. We're making hamburgers. I don't know. We had reporters go around and ask, did Kamala Harris work here 35 years ago? And they asked that to like a 17-year-old with zits all over their face. Like, oh no, man, I'm just trying to get my $7.25 an hour paycheck. Please get out of my face. But again, it's like, this is so stupid because okay, she lied about working at McDonald's. So where else did she work? Like Taco Bell, Arby's? Jack in the Box. Like, come on, man. And exactly, if she actually didn't work there, like that definitely would have been fact checked. But again, she was born in the middle class, so if she didn't work at McDonald's, then she worked somewhere similar. So I don't get why they're saying she didn't work here.
Than ever before, but we have to do certain things and we have to do it quickly. And this is one of the big reasons that we're leading in the polls in Pennsylvania, but I think we're doing a lot better than even the polls say.
I think you're doing worse than the polls say, if you ask me. Yeah. And then in that same rally, he says that when he becomes president, women aren't going to be worried about abortions anymore. It's not going to be a thing that they think about. Like, okay, man. He just says shit. Trump tells lonely women they will no longer be thinking about abortion. What does that mean?
Thank you. I love you too. I love you too. Thank you. But I think they like me because I represent something that's very important. I make this statement to the great women of our country. Sadly, women are poorer than they were 4 years ago, much poorer. Are less healthy than they were 4 years ago, are less safe on the streets than they were 4 years ago, are paying much higher prices for groceries and everything else than they were 4 years ago, are more stressed and depressed and unhappy than they were 4 years ago, and are less optimistic and confident in the future than they were 4 years ago. I believe that. I will fix all of that and fast, and at long last, this nation and national nightmare will end. It will end. We've got to end this national nightmare.
And all you got to do is put Donald Trump in office, and that's all it takes.
Because I am your protector. I want to be your protector. As president, I have to be your protector. I hope you don't make too much of it. I hope the fake news doesn't go, oh, he wants to be their protector. Well, I am. As president, I have to be your protector. I will make you safe at the border, on the sidewalks of your now violent cities, in the suburbs where you are under migrant criminal siege, and with our military protecting you from foreign enemies, of which we have many today because of the incompetent leadership that we have. You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared. You will no longer be in danger. You're not going to be in danger any longer. You will no longer have anxiety from all of the problems our country has today. You will be protected, and I will be your protector. Women.
He's just repeat, I will be your protector, women, even though I'm the one who put you in position to live in a state where getting an abortion is completely illegal. Even though women around the country are dying because they're being turned away from doctors' offices in fear that they may get their medical licenses revoked, I will protect you like no one else has ever protected you before. Meanwhile, 61,000 new registered women voters in North Carolina who, like probably 2% of them are going to vote for you. So good luck.
Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. You will no longer be thinking about abortion. So all they talk about abortion because we've done something that nobody else could have done.
Oh, and here he goes. Here he goes. Right after he says you're not going to be thinking about abortion anymore. He says, we did something nobody ever thought was possible. It's my fault that Roe was reversed. That's what everybody wanted. For 52 years, it's what everybody wanted.
It is now where it always had to be, with the states and a vote of the people.
Yeah, it's with the states, right? And for Missouri, well, first and foremost, it never should have went there. But it's just like in Missouri, we got abortion protection for abortion access on the ballot for a ballot initiative in Missouri, but the Missouri Supreme Court or Republicans in Missouri tried to get that taken off the ballot initiative, right? They tried to get that taken off the ballot initiative. While you sitting here talking about it went to the states. Of course, Roxy, y'all are totally happy with that. That's what you always wanted. That is what you always wanted. You say, yeah, you'd be thinking of abortion because he's bringing back. Exactly. We we just getting more freaky in this motherfucker. That's all it is. He's so stupid. He's such an idiot. Oh, check this out. We got JD Vance. Y'all probably already saw this. But we got to bring this up. JD Vance mocked for another botched photo op as he blames Harris for eggs costing $4 while standing in front of a $2.99 display.
Unfortunately, look at the prices here. Things are way too expensive. And they're way too expensive because of Kamala Harris's policies. I mean, look, guess what? You want some eggs? Yeah. Well, let's talk about eggs, because these guys actually eat about 14 eggs every single morning. Is that right?
Yeah.
Whoa. We'll be careful about this. Eggs, when Kamala Harris took office, were short of $1.50 a dozen. Now a dozen eggs will cost you around $4 thanks to Kamala Harris's inflationary policies.
But good for
Oh man. Literally, not figuratively, but literally the most unpopular VP pick in history. I mean, he can't do anything well. He really just can't do anything well at all. What is it? Trump ignores the First Amendment and says those who criticize the Supreme Court should be tossed in jail. Okay. All right, let's see what's up with this. JD, man. He's woo! Imagine how his wife must feel. All right, here we go. Right. He said they eat 14 eggs a day. Okay.
brave, the Supreme Court, very brave, and they take a lot of, no, they were very brave, the Supreme Court, very brave, and they take a lot of hits because of it. It should be illegal what happens. You know, you have these guys like playing the ref, like the great Bobby Knight. These people should be put in jail the way they talk about our judges and our justices, trying to get them to sway their vote, sway their decision.
What? They should be okay, Trump. So what about when the Supreme Court rules on something that's against you, or when they don't help you out? I'm sure he'll immediately, change his mind on that or something, right? I guess. All right, let's see. Open here we go with more tone deafness on abortion from Republicans. We're not quite done. The reversal of Roe v. Wade was really one of the biggest political mistakes of modern times. It really was. Not only for the damage that it caused and is continuing to cause, but also because it's now a permanent stamp on Republicans. There's no effective way for Republicans to talk about abortion. There just isn't. And as the years pile on and as more women lose their lives because of these draconian laws, it'll just be a continuous easy wins for Democrats when they talk about protecting life or giving rights to women or helping children. Like, it's just such a bad move. Right. Exactly. This is exactly him right there. I win no matter what, no matter the scenario, I come out on top. Ohio's GOP Senate candidate Bernie Moreno says abortion isn't an issue for women past 50. Okay, galaxy brain moment right there. The Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Ohio said he doesn't think abortion is an issue for women who are past 50, because after you get past child rearing years, all of a sudden you don't care about women's rights anymore. Because after that, who gives a damn? While suggesting that many suburban women are single issue voters on abortion, according to video footage obtained by local station WCMH TV from a town hall Friday. Trump endorsed Republican businessman Bernie Moreno as running to unseat incumbent Senator Sherrod Brown, a Democrat in a red-leaning state. Quote, the left has a lot of single-issue voters. Not really. I mean, abortion, the right has more single-issue voters than the left does. That's not true. The left has a lot of single-issue voters, Moreno said in the video. Sadly, by the way, there's a lot of suburban women that are like, listen, abortion is it. If I can't have an abortion in this country whenever I want, I will vote for anybody else. Okay, it's a little crazy, by the way, but especially for women that are like past 50, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think that's an issue for you. When I think to myself, me, conservatism right here, me and what I think. If it doesn't impact me, if it's not about me, it's not real. Nothing to see here. When I think about it, okay, well, so again, it's like, oh, so are you are you going to convince people to vote for you by this? Abortion's really not that big of a deal for you. If you're Nikki Haley, are you trying to lose the election? Asking for a friend. Nikki, shut up. Because you are a joke for having endorsed Donald Trump. And she's campaigning for Donald Trump. What a joke. What a joke. Nikki Haley, you're a clown. Former Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley took to X, formerly known as Twitter, asking, are you trying to lose the election? Of course, it's tone deaf. Last year, nearly 57% of Ohioans voted to amend the state's constitution to protect the right to abortion and reproductive freedom in a state where 53% of voters backed former President Donald Trump over President Biden in 2020. You know what's crazy? Bernie Moreno thinking he knows better than 57% of Ohioans who voted to protect abortion rights last year, said Senator Sherrod Brown. Trump has also suggested abortion would no longer be an issue for women. We just looked at some of that. You're no longer going to care about it. When I'm president, it's not going to be a thing anymore. You're not going to need it. Women will no longer be thinking about abortion. I make this statement to the great women of our country, Trump said at his rally, claiming women are poorer, less healthy, less safe, and more stressed and depressed and unhappy than before. I will fix all of that. At long last, this nation and national nightmare will end. It will end. And then people are like, we've got to end this national nightmare because I am your protector. I want to be your protector. As president, I have to be your protector. You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared, Trump added. You will no longer be in danger. You're not going to be in danger any longer. You will no longer have anxiety from all of the problems our country has today. You will be protected, and I will be your protector. Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. You will no longer be thinking about abortion. That's all they talk about is abortion. That's all they talk about. They just can't get over it. They can't get over this shit, man. All right, let's see. Perhaps we might do these another day. Maybe not. Let's see what's up. We got Manuel in the building. We've been had Manuel in the building. You have a good one. Thank you for joining us. Donald Trump and Republicans trying to convince women you don't actually care about this abortion stuff. All this mumbo jumbo shit about abortion. You don't really care about it. It's not really a big deal to you. You're just confused. All right, what we got here? We got some. No, we don't need to do that one. Don't need to do these two either. All right, let's check this out. We got some updates on what psilocybin may be able to do. Psilocybin, aka magic mushrooms. Can it help you? Of course it can. Now I have experienced. I mean, there's lots of studies that show how psilocybin can help people with depression when you microdose. I've never microdosed it. Anytime I do shrooms, I always do like an eighth of it, so I'll be high. But when I come down, it's like your brain is somewhat rewired. It doesn't last forever, obviously, but like a lot of the things that you were really anxious about or insecure about or angry, depressed about, it's just gone. It's just kind of evaporates. Psilocybin may curb mental illness that leads to eating disorders. Key takeaways: psilocybin can help people suffering from a mental illness linked to eating disorders. The active chemical in magic mushrooms reduce symptoms of body dysmorphic disorder. This relief appears linked to improved connections between brain regions. Yeah, man. Again, it's like it like rewires shit, and you come down, and it's like again, it doesn't last forever. You're still you, but it's like you went to 10 therapy sessions with the best therapist in the world. Psilocybin could help people suffering from a mental health problem that can lead to eating disorders, a new study suggests. Psilocybin, the active chemical in magic mushrooms, significantly reduced symptoms in people with body dysmorphic disorder. Researchers reported September 24th in the journal Psychedelics. Um, Body dysmorphic disorder causes an obsessive preoccupation with perceived flaws in one's physical appearance and is frequently tied to eating disorders and other unhealthy behaviors. For this pivotal trial, 8 people with hard to treat BDD received a single 25 milligram dose of psilocybin. Brain scans showed that the psilocybin treatment increased levels of connectivity between different brain regions related to emotional processing, cognitive activity, and feelings and thoughts about oneself. People who had the greatest strengthening in these connections experienced the most improvement in their BDD symptoms within a week. The findings, quote, align with a growing body of evidence indicating that psychedelic compounds like psilocybin can promote mental health by enhancing the brain's capacity for flexibility and integration rather. Concluded the research team led by Chen Zhang, a research assistant with the New York State Psychiatric Institute. Quote, by facilitating communication within and between brain networks that are often dysregulated in psychiatric disorders, psilocybin may help restore a more adaptive cognitive and emotional functioning. However, more studies in larger groups of people with BDD are needed to verify the effectiveness of the treatment and how long it will last. Definitely good news. And this is why this type of stuff is why federal congressional budgets are so important, right? Because oftentimes, um, you know, so much gets passed in congressional budgets. What gets funded and how much it gets funded, and stuff like this gets funded through congressional budgets. Like $700 million will go towards, like researching what psilocybin can do to help promote mental health. $200 million will go towards grants that community health centers can get to help them pay for X, Y, and Z. So stuff like this is all throughout congressional budgets. And in a lot of ways, the budget is the most important thing that Congress does. Because sure, Congress, it rarely passes legislation, but yeah, Congress can pass a law that laws of the land and stuff like that. But in the budget, that's where everything gets paid for. That's where hundreds of thousands of jobs get created or destroyed within the federal congressional budget. So every time that comes out, it's always important to keep up with it. You said the type of which does not occur after adolescence. We got yeah, I haven't done shrooms in a while. It's been a minute since I last did shrooms. All right. But yeah, a lot of the time it's easy to feel like, oh, Congress doesn't do anything at all. And in a lot of ways that's true, but it's really not. Um, when again, if you want to know what Congress really does, if they're not passing bills, look at the budgets. That's what they do actually goes down. All right. Now we got Kamala Harris calls to eliminate the filibuster to codify federal abortion rights. I mean, the filibuster should get gotten rid of. The filibuster is incredibly undemocratic, and Republicans, their argument against getting rid of the filibuster is, oh well, think about what we will do if we get in power. Oh, fuck that. Who cares, man? If what we want to do is get rid of the filibuster so that we can pass good laws, so that laws can actually get passed, because that's one of the biggest reasons that nothing happens in the Senate is because of the filibuster. Get rid of that, we can actually pass some shit. And yeah, sure, Republicans could get in office and pass a bunch of BS, but they'll just suffer for it politically if they do. Democrats get in office and they pass gun reform legislation. They do something like expand the Affordable Care Act or expand Medicare or do something about credit card debt or whatever it may be that we need. Yeah, Republicans can go in there and be like, we're going to take all of this shit away. And they may do it, but they'll suffer for it at the polls. So that's really an illegitimate argument. Who gives a damn? Get rid of the filibuster. And what's her name? Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin won't be endorsing Kamala Harris because she wants to get rid of the filibuster. And he says, shame on her, because democracy and all that. This is the first time Harris has supported a carve out to the Senate filibuster as the Democratic presidential candidate. Vice President Kamala Harris said she would support abolishing the Senate filibuster to pass legislation to restore federal abortion protections. Harris has made similar statements in the past, but her comments on Wisconsin Public Radio on Tuesday morning. Okay, yeah, so she's she's doing, I think since like the last 2 weeks, she's been doing more local interviews and stuff like that. She did the thing with Oprah, but she's been doing a lot of local stuff as well, which I think is I mean, I know I was on a panel with Jank and Sharon, and Jank was saying she should do more stuff for like CNN and MSNBC, which she will do. But I actually think that this is just fine, especially when you're looking for those key voters in these states. I think this is fine for her to do it. Why not? I mean, somebody always gonna have something to say, so at least she's doing the shit. Yes, because you want to push past the 60 vote threshold, and again, we should fuck this shit, man. This is completely undemocratic. And what do Republicans have to say? Oh well, America is not a democracy; it's a constitutional republic. Oh, okay, and then oh well, if you put it to 50, then we'll destroy the planet. Okay, good for you. Good for you. Wisconsin Public Radio host Kate Archer Kent asked Harris how she plans to get a bill to restore Roe v. Wade through Congress, given that Republicans are likely to weaponize the Senate filibuster. Quote, I think we should eliminate the filibuster for Roe and get us to the point where 51 votes would be what we need to actually put back in law the protections for reproductive freedom, Harris said, and for the ability of every person and every woman to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do. Plain and simple. I mean, and too honestly, if we don't get rid of the filibuster, how would we codify Roe? How would we do it? Because Republicans aren't going to allow that to happen. Republicans won't let anything happen. Doesn't matter what the hell it is. They just voted down. They just voted down IVF protections. They just did that. Republicans. So oh, thank you, Twin Dragon. I always have a good time being up there with them. But yeah, again, they just struck down protections for IVF, even though they're supposed to be pro-life. But if you need help getting pregnant, screw you. Harris has made repeated promises on the campaign trail that she would sign legislation passed by Congress to codify Roe v. Wade if she's elected in November. She absolutely will. She'll do that. I mean, if they're able to get rid of the filibuster, that's definitely something that she would do. The vice president stressed that in order to restore Roe, Democrats need to hold the majority in the Senate and win more seats in the House. Do it, man. Get rid of the filibuster. Democrats need 51 votes to end the filibuster, which is why it's so critical that they keep their Senate majority. If they do, it appears they would have the votes, since Senator Bernie Sanders said last week he would be open to carving out an exception to the filibuster to pass pro-choice legislation. Sanders would bring the vote count to 50, and Tim Walz, as vice president, would be the tiebreaker, but current Senator John Tester is polling behind right now if he loses. Democrats don't retain their majority and miss out on their chance to end the filibuster to pass abortion rights legislation. He's in Montana, and there's like 4 people in the state of Montana, so that's gonna be it's gonna be tough for John Tester to get across that finish line. But if they do, then yes, please get rid of the filibuster, especially for some shit like this. Senator Patty Murray, at least that's how I feel about it, supported Harris's comments to end the filibuster for federal abortion protections, retweeting, yes. Harris has been a full-throated advocate for abortion rights since she replaced President Joe Biden at the top of the Democratic ticket this summer. She has spoken out about the consequences of forcing pregnant people to travel for abortion care, detailing the financial and emotional barriers. But yeah, John Tester got to get across that finish line in Montana, but that's I don't know about that. We'll see. We will see, but that's going to be tough again because Montana is it's not it's not a state that has a bunch of big cities or anything like that. So that'll be tough. But yeah, the filibuster really shouldn't be. It's completely undemocratic. It's completely undemocratic. All right, what we got now? But yeah, I think Kamala should continue to do interviews in those local news places, especially for those voters. I think that's just fine. And I think a way that she can do better is she does do bigger interviews again. I think sometimes she has sometimes she'll take a while to get to the point. I think she'll do better if she don't tell a story first, tell a story second. Get to the point first, then tell a story. And she does that. But sometimes, like when she sat down with Oprah, like the first question that was asked, she kind of told a long story and then she got to it. But again, those are easy fixes and nobody's perfect on shit. So again, if I'm saying it, if other people are saying it, her campaign is definitely saying it. So I think that that's something that she'll just get better at as she keeps at it. I mean, even now, she's significantly better at interviews and just speaking in public than she was 4 years ago. So again, I think that's worth a critique. But again, so that's an easy fix um, that I think she'll fix it for sure. Hold on, what is this? All right, we got one more from JD Vance, and then one more clip, and then we good. All right. Oh, we got Aaron. What's going on, Aaron? We didn't had a good stream today. Always good to have you here. We almost finished, but we have had a good stream. And I'm getting ready to look into advocacy groups that I could get hired by and work with. The advocate for progressive policies and stuff like that. So I am on the lookout for those things. Crowd rains down boos on reporter for asking Vance if Trump campaign still endorses embattled Mark Robinson.
I just want to clear up, does a Trump campaign still endorse Mark Robinson? And number two.
But why is this a ridiculous question? Like they're booing it like it's so they're just booing this goes to show how aware this cult is, how aware they are of how bad Trump and JD Vance are doing. That anytime a good question is asked, they get mad about it. Because y'all the ones, Donald Trump and his idiot sons, y'all are the ones who have all these recordings floating around saying, yeah, we've been with Mark Robinson. This is Eric Trump. Mark Robinson, he's a great guy, fantastic guy. Mark Robinson, he's Martin Luther King on steroids. He's Martin Luther King times 2. So it's not a ridiculous question. It's a pretty good question, actually.
Second question is about your debate prep. It's reported that you are enlisting the help of Tom Emmer to sit in for Tim Walz. Could you talk about that choice and how you're preparing for the debate?
Yeah, well, look, Tom Emmer's a great representative.
Oh, Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate you for supporting. I appreciate your appreciation. Any way you can support this show, you can continue to tune in. I got other programmings that I do. I'll be posting other videos. Check out my content. If you can become a member, please do that. Any way that you can support is greatly appreciated and greatly needed. Thank you so much for being here.
Representative from the state of Minnesota. He has not helped us out yet, but I think that we are going to try to call on him in the next couple of weeks as we really start to, think about how to make our best case during this debate. But look, on the Mark Robinson question, Kit, you've heard me answer it now 2 times. I've been asked, I think, 5 questions. Now, three of those questions have been about what Mark Robinson did or did not say 20 years ago on a message board. As I've said, that is Mark Robinson's case to make to the people of North Carolina. I'm not going to make it for him. And the people of North Carolina, they get to be the judges of whether they believe him or not. It's really that simple.
But yeah, no, it's not a bad question at all. You can see him rubbing his hair like, ugh. Like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. And here we got this last clip with Trump. And let's see. I think it should be in terms of where to go. I think becoming a member should be on the home page, or the home page of my channel. I believe it should be somewhere up there when you go to the channel's main page. It may be somewhere in the stream, but I think yeah, the channel page is there. All right, now we got this last little thing, and then we done for the day. We didn't have a good stream. We went for 2 hours today. MAGA crowd chants, "Send them back," when Trump says some legal immigrants should be deported. Get them the hell out.
Kamala has illegally flown in more than 500,000 migrants right when she was saying, no, we don't want to do that. And she's got these guys actually want these people in our country. It's not even believable. Working with left-wing nonprofits to inundate Pennsylvania communities, changing the character of small towns and villages all over.
Villages.
Over our country and changing them.
He said
forever.
villages.
They will never be the same. They will never be. Do you think Springfield will ever be the same? I don't think.
You know what's so pathetic about all of this is these people, they already lost. They lost the culture war. It's already done. They lost it. I mean, they still gripe and complain. They cause a lot of people issues, but they lost. Like it's women have come a long way, and that's not, ultimately that's not going to be changed. Women aren't going back to the kitchen. If they did, the whole economy would be upended. That's not happening. This country, interracial marriage has been around for quite some time. There's lots and lots of mixed babies. That's not going to stop. I mean, they lost. They fucking lost. It's over. And just a continuation of the lost cause. That's all this is. But these people lost. It's like they're not going to win this war. They have already lost it.
Fact is, and I'll say it now, you have to get them the hell out. You have to get them out. I'm sorry. To get them out. Can't have it. Can't have it. They've destroyed it.
They've destroyed it by coming to Springfield and working jobs that American citizens don't want to work. They destroyed it. Send them back. I mean, and these people really think that if we just round up and send back all the brown immigrants, that life will just magically get good. Now that's all it's going to take.
It's terrible. It's terrible to say, and it's a tough thing to do. You're going to take in some murderers and things, and you'll put them on the planes and the buses, and you're going to start doing it. Dwight Eisenhower holds the record. Believe it or not, he was a moderate kind of a guy, General Eisenhower, president. And he has the record. He couldn't stand people pouring into our country, and he took a lot and took them out. He's very strong on that. And we have to be strong. We have no choice because this is not sustainable by any country. There's no country that can do this. I mean, what were they thinking when they did it? What were they thinking? This is like.
He's so pathetic. He really is. And again, Donald Trump has cultivated a base full of the dumbest people in the country. Like he really has. And that's why his ceiling is low. And again, that doesn't mean that he can't still win. I don't think he's going to win. I think it's fucking over for him. It doesn't mean he can't still win, but it's just like, dude, like his ceiling is so low because all he's done since he's been in political public life is get more extreme. That's all he's done, you know. So, but again, it's really just it's ridiculous to watch. Unfortunately, there's a lot of collateral damage that these people cause, but like, y'all lost, man. You know, people are openly gay and we love it, and that's not going to change. You know, we want a country where people can be themselves, because not only is that better for people's like overall quality of life, it's better for the country, it's better for the economy, it's better for everybody if people aren't being persecuted and chased down and hunted down just for being themselves. I mean, don't you want, well, you don't want gay people in the job market. Why not? Why not? Is it because you're so inept and so inadequate that you can't compete with gay people? You can't compete with women? Is that what it is? Because I think that's a lot of what it is. Ever since women were given a couple of rights, all of a sudden they're just doing tremendously in the economy, doing very well in school, doing very well in the job market, rising to the occasion. And all these conservative white men are like, I don't know about all. I mean, that's all it's about. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. But it's just like unfortunately, we're still fighting this fight, and we're gonna have to keep on fighting it because the racism and the sexism and all the isms are still alive. Yes, JD Vance called Haiti Haitian. He said Haitian. Ignorance, man. But look, thank y'all for joining me today on this 2-hour live stream. We had a very, very good time today. I had a very good time today. I appreciate all of your support in any way that you can give it. Catch me tomorrow. I'm streaming twice tomorrow. Catch me in the sometime in the afternoon, and then catch me in the evening. And yeah, exactly. Diversity, that's exactly what it does. It exposes their mediocrity. That 100%, that's what it does. But y'all have a fantastic rest of the day, and I will see you tomorrow.